How you doing? I'm Scott Sinclair, lead singer of SynMG, and I'm going to do a short video right now to show you how we use Ableton Live to control a Fractal AX8 on stage during a live performance. All right, step one is you want to connect your Fractal AX8 via USB to your computer. Well, it seems kind of obvious, but it's an important first step because step two is to go into your preferences for Ableton Live. It's right here. And you want to make sure that the AX8 shows up as an available MIDI port. Then you want to scroll down to the output of the MIDI port AX8, and you want to make sure that it's turned on under track. All right, that is a very important first step. Make sure that's on. Then you are going to want to create a MIDI track. So this track over here is the one that we're going to be focused on. It's the one that is set up to communicate with my AX8. And the last important thing to do from setting up the communication standpoint is to make sure that the MIDI 2 down here on the track is set to AX8 MIDI. Okay, so now we're set up to send MIDI signal from this track on channel 1 to my Fractal AX8. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to get to the right place in the Fractal AX8. So as you can imagine, each one of the songs has a different preset in the Fractal. All right, so we want to get into the correct preset. And we're going to do that by creating a MIDI clip right here. And we're going to use this MIDI clip to send a program change to the Fractal AX8. So there's two steps of this. One is to get into the preset that you want to be in, and then it is to control the preset during the length of the song to make scene changes in the Fractal that correspond with the different parts of the song. The way that we set up our live set is every song has a lead-in that precedes it. It's an 8-count lead-in. So I'm using that space and time to set what preset I want to be on in the AX8. So that's what this MIDI clip is right here. All right. And when we launch this scene in Ableton, you will notice that it's going to make a change to the preset on the Fractal AX8, and you'll see that in the window in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm going to launch it, and you're going to see something happen. Okay, so the name of the song that we're on is called Zombie, and you just saw on the screen that it sent a program change to the Fractal and said, hey, we need to be on the preset for Zombie. So how did that happen? Okay, right down here, so I'm in this MIDI clip that we created, and this is part of the parameters of this MIDI clip. And right down here, I'm going to send this program change to the Fractal that's going to make things happen. So I'm sending bank to program 34. So where did I get those values? Well, in the AX8 manual on page 100, it has a table that tells you what programming changes to send in order to get into the preset, the bank and preset in the Fractal that you might want to be in. So for example, if we just look at the top one here, on the left here, 0, 0, those are the values that you are going to send to the Fractal in order to get into bank 1 preset 1. Okay, so we want to be in bank 21 preset 2. That's down here. So in order to get into that bank and preset, we want to send value 1, 33. So the 1 represents the bank, and 33 represents the program change. So if we go back over, so again, we're going to send 1, 33. We go back over to Ableton, and you look down in this edit window of the clip, MIDI clip, and look at the program change section, if I wanted to, according to the table, hit 21.2, bank would be 1 and program would be 33. However, I discovered that for whatever reason, the table in the manual is off by 1. So if you are supposed to send via bank 1, it needs to be a 2, and if it's program change 33, it needs to be 34. I'm not sure why it is that way, but I just discovered that as I was playing around with this. So I launched a clip like I showed you, and it gets into the correct bank and preset in the AX8. Now when the song starts, let me get the song to start. There we go. So when the song starts and this little cursor travels along this timeline, there is going to be a point in time when you're going to want to change something within the preset. So maybe you want to go from a distorted guitar to a clean guitar. Maybe you're in a solo part and you want to add some more drive, a little bit of a boost. Anyway, you could draw all that in. And as you see, as this thing climbs up the timeline, I'm going from the intro to the verse, and you're going to see a change in that fractal window in the upper left-hand corner. So I went from scene 1 to scene 2, and I am now in a clean guitar for the verse. Okay, so I'm playing along on a clean guitar. I don't have to hit any buttons. And then as the verse expires here, you're going to notice that it automatically switches back to the distorted guitar. So right now I'm in scene 2. I've got an added chorus. I've got a clean amp. I did an XY on an amp, and we're about ready to switch back to a distorted guitar. All right. So now I have a distorted guitar. And you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner of that fractal window, you would have noticed the S change from 1 to 2 and 2 to 1. That's the scene. Okay, so how do we make this happen? So what we do, we start again in that same MIDI track with a new MIDI clip. This MIDI clip needs to be set to be the length of the song. Okay, so you set that here. Obviously, all songs are different, so you'd have to figure out the length. This is not in time, it's in bars and beats. But you set the length of the song, and then in this envelope window is where you get started. You set the first parameter up here to MIDI control, and then the second parameter is the control change that you're going to be sending from Ableton to the Fractal to do changes within the preset. Okay, so we're set to on control change 34. Control change 34 controls the scene changes within the preset. Where do we get that? We get that from the Fractal AX8 user manual on page 99. It tells you that scene selects control change is 34. And this number does line up properly. All right, so what is happening is Ableton is telling the first part of the control change is to get it in the right place. So 34 tells the Fractal that we want to play with scene changes. And then in this envelope window along the timeline, you would actually draw in where you want those changes to take place. So in the beginning of this song, the intro is distorted guitar, and it has a value of 0 within this control change 34. 0 is scene 1. It corresponds with scene 1. As we travel along and we get into the verse, we change the value to 1. The value of 1 is scene 2. Okay, value of 2 would be scene 3, 3 would be scene 4, and so on, up to 8. You have 8 scenes within a preset. So it gives you really, as far as any song is considered, you have tons of flexibility. You create your scenes in the Fractal, and then all you do in Ableton is tell it what scene you want to be on, corresponding in the timeline the song that you're playing. It's pretty simple. It works great. If you have any questions, please let me know. Hit me up, direct message. I'm Scott Sinclair, lead singer of SynMG. Make sure you check out SynMG. We got some good stuff. And if you're in the Chicagoland area, man, come check us out live and see the rest of this thing in action. Peace. Thank you.